Good morning and happy Friday Eve. We've got a long day ahead of us, so we need to get started. By the way, happy St. Patrick's Day. Hi everyone, it's getting kind of late, so there's probably not going to be much more in the vlog, but I just want to let you know that the reason I didn't vlog much during the day and you didn't really see much footage of school was because I left my phone in the weight room, which is what I do all of my recording on, so I wasn't able to vlog at all during classes, and I didn't get my phone until halfway through the day, and also there wasn't really much going on at school, so there wasn't much to vlog. But after school, I announced a softball game with Richard. The girls won 11-0 over Henry. That was kind of a fun game to announce. I was going to do a little segment with my picks for tomorrow, also how my bracket did today, and kind of keep you guys updated. To start off with the first game of the day, Duke versus Wilmington. I was watching this game at lunch. They actually were playing it in the cafeteria, but I was really impressed by the way Wilmington played. They stuck with Duke the entire time, but I did have Duke picked over Wilmington, and they did win 93-85. Next game was Butler versus Texas Tech. I had Butler to win this game, and I was kind of worried in the middle of the game. Texas Tech was playing them really well, and Butler they really scared me. They ended up winning 71-61. Next game, UConn versus Colorado. I was watching this in my 7th hour PE class with a bunch of guys. UConn ended up beating Colorado 74-67, which was kind of what I expected. I thought Colorado played them pretty well, and that could have been a huge bracket ruiner for a lot of people. Next game, Iowa State won 94-81 over Iona. I had Iowa State picked to win. Iona played them really well, though. This tournament, I think, is going to be a really good tournament, especially with a lot of these lower seeds that are playing really well against some very well-seeded teams. Next was Yale versus Baylor. Yale, the 12 seed, upset Baylor, which was the 5 seed. The score was 79-75. I had Baylor picked, and so this was my first loss of the day. Lost 10 points. But it's good to see an upset this early on. I really like when there's a lot of upsets in the bracket. I just don't pick those because they're crazy risky. I have a friend who has a completely upset bracket. So every single time that a team's face, he always picks the lower seeded team, which is absolutely crazy, and it's one of his 15 brackets. But he at least got 10 points today. Next game was Virginia versus Hampton. Virginia, the 1 seed, playing the 16 seed at Hampton. I expected a blowout, and that's what we got. Virginia won 81-45. They played lockdown defense the whole game. 45 points in a college game is kind of unacceptable to only score that low of a point total. But against one of the top seeded teams in the nation, what can you expect? Next was Kansas versus Austin, PA. I definitely expected Kansas to win. I actually, in 2 of my brackets, have Kansas winning the title. They won 105-79, a pretty clean-cut game. Austin, PA scored more points than Hampton in a similar matchup, but I think Kansas is the better team as far as Kansas versus Virginia. We'll see where that goes in the future. Next was Arkansas Little Rock versus Purdue. Arkansas Little Rock was a 12 seed. Purdue was the 5 seed, so I picked Purdue to win. It seemed like an obvious pick to me at the time, but after a double overtime, Arkansas Little Rock won 85-83. That was a crazy game. Double overtime in the first round of a tournament is awesome. It was just a good game and a fun game to watch. Those are all the games that have happened prior to this being filmed, which is at 7:53 in the evening. There are some games going on right now. I'll give you the scores and my predictions and how I have them picked in my bracket. I have the 3-seeded Miami beating the 14-seeded Buffalo, which at this point they are winning 52-43. That's a close-ish game, and they could win. I just got a notification that says that Miami is beating them 71-66. So a 5-point game, they can easily win. But I have a buddy who picked Miami to make it to the Final Four, which I think is ridiculous. But who knows, he could get some major points off that, and no one expected it. Also, the number 5 Indiana is facing the number 12 Chattanooga. They're at half right now, but Indiana is winning 46-37. I picked Indiana to win. Again, seemed like a pretty obvious pick. We'll see where that goes at halftime, though. You never know. They only have a 9-point lead, and that's an easily surmountable deficit, especially with the whole half. 1-seeded North Carolina versus 16-seeded Gulf Coast. They're playing it really close at half. Right now, North Carolina is winning 41-40. I definitely expected a blowout there, but for some reason, Gulf Coast is sticking with them. So that'll be that could be an upset, which would be, I think, the first time in history that a 16 seed has beat a 1 seed. We'll see how that shapes up. And I'll kind of mention that in my vlog tomorrow, see how they did. Finally, 3-seeded Utah is facing 14-seeded Fresno State. I picked Utah in this. Again, it's one of those obvious picks, just the way the seeding shapes up and the way they've been playing throughout the year and the way Fresno's played it throughout the year. Right now, Utah's winning 20-7, pretty clean cut. It's how I expected the game to go. That was my March Madness section of the day. If you aren't interested in sports at all, I apologize, but I really am. And so I think it's interesting to kind of break down the bracket and let you know how my bracket's doing. If you have a pick that you think is better than one of mine, or a pick that you think may be wrong on my brackets, or if you have an upset that you'd like to predict, just go ahead and leave it in the comments. That's pretty much going to wrap things up for me today. Today wasn't too eventful as far as school goes, but it was the beginning of the 64 teams that are in the March Madness tournament, which for me is super exciting. That's all everyone is talking about at school, and it really makes March special. Also, it was St. Paddy's Day, so I hope you all have a great evening if you're out, celebrating, and I hope you had a great day otherwise. Thank you all for watching, and have a wonderful evening.